Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to help change the world one starfish or one person at a time. As always, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share. That's how we get the word out about what we do. Our guest today, she's been telling me about her story. It's incredible, so I'm excited for you guys to hear it. Elizabeth, I will butcher her last name, so I won't say it, but she can say it. She's been in real estate for 25 years. She's been through a lot of different stuff in her life. Family's got, a daughter that's growing, all that kind of stuff. But interesting enough, it also came from the Soviet Union, which I haven't had one of those on the show. So I'm excited to hear about that or looking forward to it. I don't know if excited is the right word. But she moved over in 1999 from there. So that was a huge catalyst of change. So welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Angela. Great to see you again, even though not in person, but I'm happy to be here.
I love it. Let's get into your story. Like I said, we were going into it. I'm like, let's get this on the show. Let's get this going. So tell us a little bit about like your upbringing. Your dad left left when you were young, and how did that shape you? And then you were in the Soviet, and then you moved over here. Like, man, you got a lot going on there. So just take it away.
Well, yeah, so when I was 5 years old, my dad left our family, and I've never seen him, never heard from him again. And that definitely was one of the catalysts that shaped a lot of my decisions in life. I grew up with my mom and in the same household with her parents, who were from Georgia, Soviet Union country, Georgia. And my mom was my rock. And I think one of the things that I've learned since I was a little kid is that I had to count on myself. And kind of my mindset always was, okay, if someone helps you, if you find support, great friends, awesome. But bottom line, you have to rely on yourself and you have to figure it out. Just figure it out. So I think that was one childhood. And the other one, as you mentioned, in Soviet Union, um, back when I was kind of school age, college age, there was really no entrepreneurship. And everyone was on this path of just education, education. So you go to the college, then you go to the university, then MD, PhD, and that's how you get a better position and better paycheck. So it's basically either corporate world or government-based employment. And so when I moved to the United States, that mindset was kind of sort of tattooed in my understanding of how to make successful living, right? So it took me quite a lot of years to figure out, wait a second, there is also another thing. I can be my own boss and I can, build my own schedule and shape my business the way I want to shape it and with values I want to have in place. So that took me quite a long time. I would say about 10 or 12 years until one day I woke up and it was like a light bulb on. Oh my God, this is what's happening. This is what's holding me back. Like it's all here, right? So yeah, in a few words, I think that was it.
Wow. So your dad left when you were young. You said when you were 5. How do you feel that that shaped you? He was gone and never came back. So how do you think that shaped you? And how did your mom, what was something your mom did that helped raise you into a strong woman today without a father figure? Like if someone, I got a lot of, I call them independent mothers in my life. So how did she help raise you without him in the life? And I feel like that wasn't a huge thing for you, but for a lot of people, that is a huge thing. So, if you think back, how did she make it not such a big thing?
Well, I think it was a big thing. I think it's just my personality that I oftentimes kind of keep it invisible for other people and sometimes even for myself.
Hmm.
Because if I keep it somewhere deep inside, it's not right in my face and on my way of achieving more. Uh, Now I am a little different person. I'd rather face it, bring it out, be aware of it, and address it. Don't afraid of it. But I think also what helped is that we lived with her parents. So my grandfather kind of took that place of a man figure in our house. And you know, that's why when 13 years ago, I divorced with my daughter's father here in the United States. My goal was to do anything and everything possible that we keep good relationship and for her to have both of us in her life.
Mhm.
And that's what we're doing. Happy
That's great.
co-parenting. We have great relationship with his family. And I think that's very important for the child to know that both parents are in their lives.
Yeah, your mom is an amazing person to have done that and raised you like that. That's cool. See, a lot
Yeah,
of people become bitter instead of better out of things like that. So, and a lot of times, because I mean, you were 5, it's a lot of times how the parent shapes it and projects it to the child. So, like I said,
exactly.
like your mom did a really good job. Is something I've noticed with my mom. She did a really good job because my dad left for a little while when I was young, and I just admire what mom did as an adult now to make us not like we missed him and it was a thing, but it wasn't a thing at the same time.
Hmm.
And so I admire mom, stepping up and being mom and dad at the same
Yeah.
time. So obviously your mom did the same thing. And then, what prompted you guys to, obviously the Soviet was that at a point of unrest? Like I don't know actually know a lot of history. I mean, I know there's like I don't know what times things happened. Was it a lot of unrest going on when you like were there, or was it already kind of past that, or just a little bit about that? Because I'm just
It was kind
curious.
of in the beginning, in the middle of it. Yeah, but
Okay.
that was not the reason why I moved to the United States. It was actually kind of love story. I met my ex-husband there, father
Okay.
of my daughter.
Okay.
And it became kind of Cinderella story. And
Oh,
we were flying back and forth for a few years to meet each other in different parts of the world, and then decided to stop flying and got married. And that's how I ended up here.
okay.
My mom continued living there, and then now she's 89. And several years ago, I moved her to live with us because I want to continue legacy and my daughter having, my mom in the house. So
Okay.
yeah, we live all together. My daughter moved to San Diego to UCSD recently. So
So
yeah,
so you moved your mom out now that she lives with you in
yes,
her late 80s. She's been living
yes,
otherwise in Moscow for the whole time, and now she's so that's a like your mom's
yes,
an amazing
and
person. Now
just
I
got
get
her
I get where the
citizenship.
bloodlines come. What was that?
And she just got her citizenship.
Wow, that's amazing. So she's a
Yeah,
very
I'm super
strong
happy.
woman.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I see where you got it from. And I just want, anyone listening, like, this is so important. A lot of times in my mind, like I said, I don't have kids, but I just see this, generations are changed by you, whoever you are listening to this. And, if you're a mom, what you do, I just like is so powerful because your mom impresses me. Like I said, because my mom really impresses me. She's always like, "You're so strong, Ange." I'm like, "Mom, it's because of you. Like I followed you." And like a lot of moms listening to this, like I said, are independent moms, and I don't think sometimes they underestimate the difference that they can make just by being a really good parent. Which they're like, "Well, of course I'm a good parent." Well, no, there's a lot that aren't. So.
Right.
And just your mom's like moved over in her 80s. Like, that's so cool. I love
Yeah.
that. Very, very cool. So tell us about you. You moved over on the Cinderella story. And you got into finally realized about entrepreneurship. You're like, wow, I can actually have some control of my time. And so you got into real estate and running your own business and that kind of thing. What were some of the challenges? Like it's anyone that's running a business knows there's challenges. So what were some of the challenges you had to overcome and how did you overcome them?
So I think one of the challenges goes back to the same point, entrepreneurship, because I've learned pretty quickly. I shadowed a lot of great agents. I was in sales for 3 years. I was in the mortgage business. I co-owned the mortgage company. Then I was a property manager for the retail shopping centers. I managed a few constructions, and now back to real estate sales. So that spectrum of kind of different sides of real estate industry helps me make or suggest proper advice and decisions for my clients. But the challenge was you need to get clients. That's a sales industry. That's
Right.
entrepreneurship. No one is going to bring you, 10 clients a month. And so that was one of the challenge. I think I'm relatively good with people and communication skills, but that was a challenge. Like, okay, you have to be your own manager and your sales manager and be okay to say, I'm the best for you in this situation. Give me a chance and interview me because I know you're going to be happy with my services. So that took kind of a lot to be comfortable with, let's put it this way. And I think the other challenge was that you're really in real estate, you're not paid until the deal is closed and situations change. It might not be a client changing the mind. It might be a relocation. It might be something in the family, loss of the employment. And all of a sudden you work for 3 months and you're all in. And then, okay, what am I doing next? How am I going to pay my rent or my mortgage or my
Mm.
car insurance, whatever. So I had a transaction 5 years ago that I really went all in because it was a large commercial deal for an existing client who really trusted me. And it lasted 23 months. And we were 6 times in escrow, 5 times out. Challenges. No one believed we would ever close this deal. We closed it. It was
Good.
a large commercial, great commission check. But a lot of
23 months.
learning,
Yeah,
a
23
lot of
months, not an
learning.
overnight.
But
You worked hard.
Angela, I'm going to tell you, if that didn't close, I didn't work on anything else. So the pipeline was zero. It
Oof.
took 24/7 and all in. So those are the challenges, I think. But if you're persistent, you will get there.
Wow. So how did you build the confidence? Like you said, you have to find clients. And I think that's a huge, I know I just talked to a lady yesterday and she was looking at getting into the organization I'm in, the financial services. She's like, I just don't know about finding clients. And I was like, well, like I just did it. And so like, what was your mindset? Because I think a lot of people, when they come from employee to like entrepreneurship, that is a big thing because we do have to find, we have to hunt. So we have to do
Yeah,
the hunting.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
so how did you build that confidence in yourself, especially coming from another country, even 2 years? It's not like you knew a lot of people either, I've got to say. I'm sure. Like it's not like you had like this huge market. 'Cause a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know anybody. Well, you came from another country, you didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
And so how did you build that confidence to be able to be like, yeah, I can do this. Like, where do you think that came from?
I think there are two aspects to that. One is with years, you gain experience, and the more experience you gain, the more confidence it gives you.
Hmm.
And so when I speak with clients now versus 20 years ago, they see it. Like I know a lot of things, and if I don't know something, I'm not afraid of saying, you know what? I'm not a pro in this specific aspect, but I have a wide network of professionals and colleagues. Let me get back to you in 24 hours. They only respect that because they know I have the best in my heart for them. So I think that definitely gives you a lot of confidence. And second aspect, I think, is that you need to have something very important in front of your eyes all the time or in front of your mind, like the reason why you do that. The reason, as I always say, you know, you don't have any other choice. You don't have a choice of failure.
Hmm.
For me, it became the fact that, after divorce, my daughter was 8 years old and my mom was like in her late 70s and they both rely on me. I didn't have a chance to fail. I just needed to figure out the way. So when you keep something that's higher than yourself, that's, whether it's a goal in your life or some destination you want to get or some person, whatever it is, but it's higher than your fear, higher than your discomfort level, that will keep you going through the walls and achieving your results. I think those two things are basically that I always keep in mind.
Okay. That's interesting. And so how did you start to build it? Did you knock on doors? Did you cold call? Did you go to networking? What did you do to start to build your clientele?
It's interesting. I'm still, after 24 years, I'm not very comfortable cold calling.
Okay. Yeah, most people aren't.
Um, Primarily in the beginning, it was friend circle, and I was shadowing a lot of great experienced agents. So sometimes I would collaborate, and my business would come from just co-working with them, and at the same time, I would learn the industry. And then, step by step, your referrals from your clients.
Mm.
You get referrals from other agents from other areas. Right now in this year of my life, in our company, I started mentoring agents. So some newer agents who did not close a lot of deals, I kind of become their mentor on, what the steps are and how you build your business or how you close the transactions.
Mhm.
So that I really like to do. I really like providing value to people and teaching them how to do better.
So on the days that you didn't want to go to work, which I'm sure there was lots of days, and I know we're going back 25 years. This is a lot of like dig back in your memory. What got you out of bed in the morning on those days and made and had you do the things you didn't want to do? What drove you? I know you talked about your family and that
Yeah,
kind of thing, but how did you like because like this is what I see as why I see this a lot where a lot of people are like they need to like literally they need to make money. They do have no money and they cannot afford groceries. So they need to make money and yet they're still not making the calls or still not doing the things.
right.
And for whatever reasons and why what drove you? Like what do you think the difference maker is that someone could take and be like, "Okay, I could like I'll try to do that so that I can do the work when I don't feel like it," which is most of the time in the beginning.
Well, I think two things. One is I think someone who doesn't make those steps, they have somewhere, maybe it's far away, maybe it's a far relative or a good friend or something. There's some safety net they can fall on.
Mm.
And they keep it in mind. Like, okay, no big deal. I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Um,
I like
I
that.
didn't have that. When I moved to the United States, I didn't have anyone. Well,
Couldn't
my
you have said
my
like my
husband,
husband will
right?
look after me?
Right. But after divorce, most of my business started building when we separated.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But the other part I think is this little thing of one of my most favorite guys in the world that I keep in a little frame.
It's what you do when you aren't motivated that determines your success or failure by Ed Milet. She's holding up I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So,
Wow, that's
yeah.
so true. I should give that
And
out to everybody.
I don't mean we don't have the days when we don't feel like it, maybe
Yeah.
physically, maybe like right
Like
now
right
I'm
now, you got a hand that's freaking killing you for no reason. So
killing
you're
me.
dealing with a physical ailment. I understand that with
Yeah.
MS, so I get that.
So it's okay to have those setbacks as long as you don't stop permanently.
Right.
Like, give it a day, give it a two. Human beings, but like keep moving.
Well, that's good. So, you're mentoring some agents now. What like this is really good. What do you see that they're like that most of them that aren't getting deals, what do you think the biggest hole is? It like one of the things I think a lot of it is self-belief, but what do you think it is? Do you think that's one of the things, or what do you think the biggest reasons are? I love that you talked about the safety net. I haven't even thought about that. So I just think that is really accurate too. I'm like, people think there's a plan B. You're
Yeah,
right. And
exactly. Burn the
and
boats.
they can mentally not have a plan. They can have a plan B, but mentally not have a plan B. And you can work on that for sure. So what are your thoughts on the difference between someone that's successful and someone that's not? Because I know it's not who they are. 'Cause a lot of people say that. It's like, oh, well, they just have like charisma or they have, okay, no, you can train all that. So what is it? What do you think the biggest couple difference makers are? And how does people work through that if they actually want to become somebody?
You asked the question starting with the newer agents that I mentor. And I think for newer agents, um, I see two things primarily. One that you just mentioned, which is basically self-confidence. Um, and it's partly the experience, but partly it's more it's here, right? It's
Right.
mental game. And the way I kind of explain it to them, don't sell yourself. Like you're going to the appointment with a new client, they know you didn't close any transactions, but they need to trust you. They're hiring you as a person. They need to trust you. They need to trust that you will do your best to provide them with a great service and advice. Sell your team. You're working with the main office of Coldwell Banker Global Luxury in San Francisco. You are going to the appointment. You can always say, I'm not going to be the only one representing you. I will have such and such agent. They specialize in type of the property that you're looking for.
Mhm.
But I will be your point of contact. You can rely on me. I will never let anything slip through the cracks. And that's, I think, one key point that they can utilize to become more self-confident during the first interviews. And same in your industry.
Mhm.
When people go to the insurance appointments, right? It's exactly the same. And I think the other thing is um, a lot of the newer agents get stuck in the educational aspect. Oh,
Mhm.
when I learn this, then I start.
Right.
When I go through that class, then I start.
Yeah. I need
When I
more.
learn how to write a contract, then I start. And again, going back to Ed Milet, I don't remember which interview that was, or maybe it was in the RTA group, but at some point he mentioned this phrase, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like brilliant. I can't teach you how to drive a parked car. Just start. Just like make your first step, first move. Have a good professional next to you who will guide you, teach you, mentor you, and just learn. Learn on your mistakes. Okay, you will get in a few accidents here and there, but eventually you will be driving that car. So I think this analysis paralysis is one of the big things with the newer professionals in any industry.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's awesome. So build your confidence. Just tell people and then pick up your end of the bargain and make sure you do what you say you're going to do. Um,
Yeah,
and you keep doing that over and over again, you'll start to build that self-confidence. So that's
exactly.
really cool. So
Exactly.
where do you see yourself going in the next 5 or 10 years? What's your goal now, Elizabeth?
That's an interesting question. So, and it's interesting because I also for the last several years, my thing in the like second part of the December is creating a vision board for the new year. And one of the things I want to do more now as my daughter is a young adult and lives in San Diego, is to devote more time to myself and my well-being, physically, health-wise, and professionally, kind of self-growth. I started implementing daily morning routines, which are very important for me right now,
Mhm.
kind of mentally building my day, my week, my life. Um, so that's on a more personal level. On a professional level, I think I didn't grow my business in the past as much as I wanted to, or as much as I could have grown it, because again, as a single mom, my mother is in her 80s. My daughter was in middle school. You needed all this time for the family. And I am, extremely happy that I made certain decisions that might have limited my business growth,
Hmm.
but they brought me uh, to this family where I have right now with the relationship that we've built and memories that we've built together.
Cool.
So I think now I want to concentrate more on the business. I work as a part of the incredible team in our company and probably growing the team, growing the projects. And, I really like mentoring. So probably will never stop having some newer agents in my life.
That's good. I love it. Very cool. Well, and wrapping up, I always have three final questions and then anything we didn't touch on that you think would be really impactful for our listeners. First and final question is if someone is looking for their purpose, what's one sentence you could say that could help them find it?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult one. For me, it would be imagine you're back to your childhood when we did not have any fears or any worries. And when we were kids, we would sometimes close our eyes and daydream. Close your eyes, daydream, and think about where you want to be. Imagine you have unlimited resources. You have everything you need in the physical life, sort of this existence in the universe. But think about what makes you happy. And then start doing that. And that will bring you um, to the place where you're going to be happy. And eventually, most of the times, that will also make you money. And if someone doesn't know that or can't find it, then just move into direction that you see right now. Because if you, again, back to the parked car, if you don't start moving, you may not know which roads open. So once you start moving, all of a sudden you see a door or a little path, and you go down that path and you're like, wow, that's what I was looking for. So
Cool. I like that.
that's one.
Number two question is, and I mean, you just held one up, so it might be, what's a favorite quote and why?
Well, that my last one
That's what I'm
was
thinking.
one. And another one is uh, I think it's Zig Ziglar. I might be wrong,
Okay.
but I think it's Zig Ziglar. And it says something I may not say it exactly, but people often say motivation doesn't last. That's and neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily.
I like that. Yes. I think it is Zig. I've heard of it too. I don't know who says
I
it, but
think
I
it's
think
Zig
so.
Ziglar. Yeah,
That's
I
so
might be
cool.
wrong.
Third question, third and final question. What's one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
I might change this decision in the next years. But for now, probably believe in yourself and be kind.
That's cool. I like that. All right. Walking to someone in the coffee shop, they listen to this. They're like, all right, motivation doesn't last. So we got to like work on it every day. And all of that we talked about. What's something we didn't talk about that you think would be really impactful for listeners?
Well, it's there are a lot of things that we could have touched on. I think one is to be true to yourself because you can lie to anyone. But for me, the most important thing is when I come home in the evening and I look in the mirror, I need to be able to tell myself, okay, I did this and this and this today. That was good. Something is wrong. I need to face it and I need to unpack it and think, like, why did I do this? And also do not look in the rear view mirror for too long. We all have our share of mistakes, challenges in the past. Oh, I didn't do this right, and all the guilt that kind of starts piling up sometimes. Keep your eyes on the road. It's okay. And maybe those choices that we've made in the past, now we see them as mistakes. But maybe at that point, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, maybe those were the only possible moves that you could have taken, or you were in a different place in your life and, you know, it was right for you to do. So I think that's important. And also, I think what I would really love for more young generation people to keep legacy of their family in life in mind. My grandfather, who was born in Georgia, he developed very strong dowsing skills. So he was able to find water underground. And I grew up always listening to him speaking about energy and quantum physics and how it works. And so, there are a lot of um, articles and some writings that he had, and we brought it here. So for me, for example, one of the projects that I want to achieve, that is my family legacy. I want to go through this pile of paperwork and publish a book in his memory. So I think, you know, just kind of, I don't like the word balance necessary because I don't think there is a balance all the time, but I like balancing. So I always try balancing. And I think it's important to grow the business, but at the same point, keep your family important, keep your friends important, your health, and kind of make this a very, multifaceted life with good vibes of the universe.
Awesome. I love it. Guys, make sure to share. Let's go out there. If we can change one life or one person at a time, one starfish at a time, together, we can change the world. Thanks for being on, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Angela.